Welcome everybody. Friday Night Live, CFI After Dark, whatever you want to call it. It is the Week 7 recap show. I am the pet man, Matt Morrow. Obviously, we are not playing football tonight. Thanks to Hurricane Ian, we played the vast majority of games on Thursday night, last night. And it was an interesting night. Anytime you move games and change days of the week, you get, interesting things that tend to happen. And joining me on the special Hurricane Ian edition of Friday Night Live, CFI After Dark, is the engine,
Yep.
Kenneth Clamrock.
I think I like these 9 o'clock starts better, Pat.
Yeah, it's a little bit of prime time, and our viewership is reflecting the fact that we are not high on the ratings at 9 o'clock.
We're
But
more 11:45 style show.
yeah, this is a show where you typically are laid back and you just want to laugh and relax after a long day, and you know that's what we do.
Yeah, it was
Before
a
the
long day of doing nothing except for watching TV for me today.
well, isn't that nice?
It was a lazy day,
Nah,
Pat.
I am still working actually. All these lovely work phones that they give us, yeah, work never stops, man. But let's talk about some work that happened on the field. You were at a pretty good game last night, right?
Yeah, great game. Had two undefeated teams. Christ the King hosted Pine Lake Prep, of course, our guy, Coach Trotter. Um, great game. Pine Lake Prep took the opening kickoff. They drove the length of the field, got down inside the 5-yard line. Christ the King had a huge defensive stop. They actually forced a fumble, recovered. Pine Lake Prep's defense played lights out for the entirety of the game. Pep, I was really impressed, man. Really impressed. I had not seen Christ the King play before. I had not seen Pine Lake Prep. Of course, Coach Trotter keeps us up to date on all of his team's comings, but was super impressed. Both teams played with tempo. Both teams were well coached. I loved what both teams did, especially offensively on both sides of the ball. It was two really good quarterbacks, two really good running backs. Both teams had a couple of wide receivers who were pretty good players as well. The difference in the game, Pine Lake Prep's defense played exceptionally well. At the end of the first half, Pine Lake Prep drove, and the quarterback, Nick Reed, threw it well over 50 yards in the air off his back foot while he was being chased down. Perfect strike to number 21. His name is slipping me off the top of my head. And then he ran it in the next play as time expired, which really gave them the momentum going on. But a huge win. Christ the King was ranked number 10 in some polls in 1A. So that was a huge win for the Pine Lake Prep Pride. Say that 3 times fast.
It's very, very difficult to say very fast. And
Slowly.
yeah. And as you say that, we've got the Pine Lake head coach, Austin Trotter, here to join us. Coach, welcome.
What's going on, guys?
Man, I don't think you can't really get an understanding for just how large of a man this dude is. Like, I'm looking at his belly button last night, talking to him. I'm like, good night. And I'm asking him about a kid. He was like, Coach, he looks me in the eyes. I was like, yeah, it's a large boy there. Good night.
Coach, thanks for joining us on this primetime edition of Friday Night Live. You see, when you go primetime, man, you get big time guests like Coach Trotter, man. That's awesome.
Right. Appreciate it. No, I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. So, Coach, talk to us about your start, man. Undefeated start to the season. What's been the difference in this team compared to your previous teams?
This year we're kind of senior heavy in a lot of key positions. Our quarterback is a 3-year starter, 4-year starter overall. Spent the spring season playing wide receiver, but has played quarterback his freshman, junior, and senior years for us. Defensively, we've got 8 senior starters, so that's been really key for us on that side of the ball. and just our guys are used to playing together. I mean, every single one of these guys that's a starter on our team right now played together in our middle school program. So they've been with us, with me for 4 years. And before that, they played together. So it's just a lot of the continuity between those guys and knowing each other and all those years of development. It's really starting to pay off.
Absolutely, man. I want you to talk about your defense. I know your defense has been kind of the thing that's been carrying you guys to the undefeated start. What can you say specifically about that side of the football?
Our defense flies around and makes plays. And, you look at us and, we may not have the biggest guys on the D-line. We're starting a converted running back at defensive end who's 5'7", 170 pounds. But he's quick off the ball, making plays, extremely strong. It's that senior leadership. Our D coordinator, Sean McCune, is awesome. He gets those guys prepared every single week, ready to go out there and play, puts together great game plans for us. And it's just there's kind of a standard that those seniors are holding each other to, and it's every day in practice. It's, not letting each other get by with minimal effort, pushing each other constantly, be prepared to play. Hudson Style, our middle linebacker, is kind of the glue that holds it all together. He's leading us in tackles, set the single season record last year, is on pace to probably break that record this year. And he's only, he didn't play in our Winston-Salem prep game, but he still is averaging like 13, 14 tackles a game. And those aren't inflated tackle numbers. Trust me, I'm doing it myself. So I'm making sure they're legit. And then up front, we got a couple of young guys. Jack Smith, Ryan Conatilo. Jack had 3 sacks last night. He's up to 8 on the year as a defensive tackle. Secondary wise, you've got, again, returning starters in Aiden Ziegler, Nick Reed, who's also our quarterback. Nick's been a starter at free safety for 3 years. Had the two big pick sixes against Mount Mount a couple weeks ago. And then, linebacker wise, we've got 3 senior linebackers, Hudson Style and Wes Sunderland, Ronnie Mahoney are holding that down. So again, it's just it's a senior heavy defense, and guys who are comfortable playing each other, trust one another, know where each other's going to be, and they just fly around and rally to the ball. And, they've been, what's keeping us in a lot of these games right now. Our offense kind of struggled a little bit early in the season, but we're finally starting to kind of pick that up, and there's different reasons for that. And but I'm happy where we're at and where I think we're going to end up the season being.
Absolutely, Coach. We got Kenneth McClamrock coming up next. He saw you guys in action last night, and he wants to ask you a question or two, Coach.
All right.
Coach, man, one thing that I was really, really impressed with last night, and this is so foreign to us guys in 3A and 4A, and you've coached in the 4A ranks, so you know what I'm talking about, is you have so many guys playing both sides of the ball. But at no point last night watching you guys play did I ever think, boy, that player was really out of position or that kid was confused. It seems like somehow you've gotten these kids to understand not just the defensive side of the ball, but also a tempo offense on the offensive side of the ball. What's the secret there? I tried it one year. I could never get kids to play both sides of the ball. I didn't know how to coach it. I didn't know how to practice it. I didn't know how to scheme it. What do you do differently? And not only do they play both sides of the ball, but Coach, they didn't get tired.
Yeah.
Like at halftime, I heard your defensive coordinator say, if you get tired, be unselfish and let us know. How does that happen? It's a testament to you and your staff, but Coach, talk about that a little bit, man.
So you talk about the guys we have playing both ways. Right now, we had 2 offensive line starters starting on the defensive line. 2 more of them are situational package rotation guys as well. Our secondary is our 2 starting wide receivers, our starting running back, and our starting quarterback. So it's guys who are running a lot and are also playing both ways and never coming off the field. And then you also look at it, and a couple of those guys are returning kicks and playing special teams. And, really the only guys that I've made a point not to play on both sides of the ball is our linebackers, just to keep those guys fresh in the middle, always ready to go. But, yeah, it's Coming from coaching in the 4A ranks and in the 3A and 4A ranks for so long and coming down to this level, excuse me, we had to learn how to make this work. Obviously a lot of condition, just summer conditioning time, and not just sprints, but just the way we do it. Our players will tell you that we've kind of developed a way that we do our conditioning that really replicates game situations. And we're not just out here running 40s and 80s and everything else like we used to, running stadiums and Indian runs. All that stuff's gone. It's all sprint based, timed, short distances with timed rest in between them to replicate plays in the game, so that their bodies are getting used to being able to work under those constraints. But it's just a test of those kids too. We harp, like everybody does, but we have to stay on our guys about hydration and sleep and rest and all the other things that come with it. Because again, we have a lot of guys who are playing both ways, especially positions where you really don't want them to. Like a Noah Murphy, who had 31 carries last night as a running back.
What a
and is also starting at strong safety, and returning kickoffs. So it's something where we have to be mindful of it. And we do have some guys that we can rotate in and sub in. But for the most part, we've got a lot of guys playing both ways, and we've just been knocking on this desk here, lucky with injuries and lucky that guys are staying healthy.
Coach, several guys stood out to me. Of course, Noah Murphy stood out to me. 21 stood out to me. Huge catch before half. He went up against Christ the King's best wide receiver all night and just followed him around. Your quarterback made some really, really nice plays, both in the passing game and the run game. But I'll tell you who impressed me, and you just kind of briefly mentioned him, 44, your middle linebacker, just really looks like he's the heart and the soul of the team. It looks like he gets everybody in the right position. He's a coach on the field. He was constantly encouraging guys all night long. He was telling the down and distance every single play. What kind of player is he like for you, Coach?
Hudson Stalin is a special player for us. Hudson has started he started getting some starting reps about halfway through his freshman year. And he's been a 3-year starter and a 3-year player voted captain. As a sophomore, his teammates voted him as a captain for the team.
Wow.
So he is the heart and soul of this team. He is the guy, he's the emotional leader for our team, but he's also you're right, he's getting everyone lined up. He's getting the calls, he's making sure everybody's in position, he's getting everybody where they need to be. It's really good having a guy like that in the middle of your defense that understands everything that's going on, that's able to get everybody in the position they need to be in, and he flies around and makes plays. And it's having that guy right there in that spot is really been key for us, especially this year. It's getting everybody where they need to be.
The other two players who really stood out to me defensively, of course, number 50, who you mentioned, that had a couple of sacks last night. And then I'm assuming the running back turn defensive player is number 11, because
Yes.
that dude is quick as lightning, got after it. Coach, what can you say about those guys?
So Ryan Conatilo, number 50, sophomore for us, also our starting left tackle.
He's a sophomore.
He's just a sophomore.
He's a good player.
He had I don't have my stats right here. I think he had like 3 or 4 tackles for loss. He ended up a sack and a half. 64, Jack Smith, another sophomore defensive tackle, had 3 sacks last night, 5 tackles for loss, 9 total tackles. Both of those guys down there are just and Jack's also starting to right guard for us. There's another guy, 2-way player. Both of those guys are controlling the defensive line. And then Gabe Boulevard. Gabe is a kid who we didn't really know if he was going to fit in on defense or not. We kind of had him penciled in as a running back for us. We wanted to try him out just with his quickness to get him on the field in a game, and he showed some burst. Gabe's about 5'7", 170, but the kid deadlifts over 500 pounds. The kid's extremely strong, especially in his body type. He uses the leverage. He's a smaller guy stature-wise as far as height, but he uses that leverage. He's got such great quickness. He's got a great burst. His first step is really good. A couple of times the quarterback tried to get outside the pocket, and he's right in his hip, had a sack, forced fumble, and then another sack later on, and then a couple of hurries. So, that kind of burst from him, along with Jack and Ryan and their size and strength down there on the front, is allowing us to play with a 3-man line, which is letting us get more guys, in space to shut some teams down.
Well, I'll tell you what I was so impressed about is, of course, everybody talks about Charlotte football, right? And Cal Smith comes on here and he talks about Iredell County football as well. And of course, he's a big Mooresville guy. And we know about Lake Norman here recently. But I think Pound Lake Prep is really the team on the rise again, Coach. Once again, I was so impressed last night by you guys, by the way your kids played. And then I just like to stay on the sideline and watch coaches coach, and the way that you can stay cool and calm, even when the game didn't go your way in a couple instances, because Christ the King was pretty stinking good themselves. But was just really impressed by your program overall, Coach. And, good luck the rest of the season.
Coach, I really appreciate it. I know we may not get all the attention that the big Charlotte schools get, and I've been at some of those schools, and I understand it, but there's really good football being played at all levels in this area. And hats off to Christ the King and their coach, their new coach over there. He's got that program going in the right direction. They're going to be trending up in the next couple of years. But, we've put a lot of work in here. This is my 4th season here. These seniors are the first group that's come all the way through. And like I said, our middle school program has been really successful. We've been trying to keep as many of those kids here as we can and continue to build it. And, I think we've got a bright future ahead of us. We're just going to continue to keep building homegrown as, everybody always thinks, charter schools and getting people in. Now, this is homegrown. These are guys who've been with us and have worked through from the middle school all the way up. And this is how we're going to continue to build this up the right way. And I think that's how we can have, hopefully some long-term sustained success.
Absolutely, Coach. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
And your student section last night.
Oh, yeah.
It's are loud, buddy.
Yeah, they came out big time last night. I mean, I was, again, it was an away game at another school on a, I guess having school off today might help them a little bit. Yeah, they came out in force and were wrapped around the field. Both fans groups.
They were
from last night. So that's always good to see.
Coach, it's awesome, man. I love, seeing the success up there. And I got to find a way to get back up there because I want to see you guys, and I need another maple bacon donut, man.
Well, no, they didn't have any maple bacon donuts at Christ the King last night.
I'll see if we can get that food. I got to figure out which food truck that was. We got to get that one back up there because, I didn't get one that night, and I've been hearing about it for 2 years now. So we need to make sure we get that one back so I can at least try one myself.
Coach, we appreciate the time, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank y'all.
Absolutely. All right. For those of you joining us, that was head coach Austin Trotter for Pine Lake Prep, undefeated on the season, doing a great job in the 1A ranks. I want to bring on super producer who has joined us. What's up?
Good evening. I was listening to that, so I'm a numbers guy, so I was crunching the numbers. I believe they gave up 10 points last night, and that's actually the most points they've given up all year. And from what I can see, in 6 games, they've only given up 18 points total. So
that's amazing.
It's pretty impressive. I
don't care what level of football you're playing. That's amazing.
You know what was really impressive, Pep and Brandon, is I'd been by Christ the King's field just because of Josh. I rode through there one day in the summertime, but it was packed house all the way around. There's just little like metal bleachers you see at Little League football games, but it was packed. It was standing room only all the way around. And all I kept thinking is what an incredible experience. I mean, there are, Coach mentioned it. He's coached in Charlotte. There are Charlotte schools who are consistently good, who do not have the fan support that were at Christ the King last night. I mean, it was just a really incredible atmosphere. Both student sections were loud. The coaches were intense. The players were intense. I think it was a pretty big rivalry. Maybe there had been some talking going on. You can see throughout the week. They were playing hard, man. I was really impressed by it.
Good stuff. Guys, we got to address something that I've never seen on any of our shows, and we're going to do something that we typically do on the Wednesday show. Hold on. We're going to do a quick slime time because I see a comment here.
Uh-oh. It's game day.
Spam bot. What in the world? You don't come up on our shows and drop this crap, okay? Go get a life, Sports Light 17. What are you doing?
Are you saying I shouldn't click on that link?
No.
So don't give them my social security number?
No.
But they just asked for a down payment.
That's on Kyle.
Chat administrator, you let this in here? What the world, man? First of all, look at it. If you can't make the game today, there are no games today. What a bunch of crap. Link for the stream. Who's playing on the stream? Look, you people need to go get a real job, man. Go get a real job. You can't be making no money posting this crap all over the place. Probably living in your mom's basement. Ain't never been in a relationship in your life.
Never had a maple bacon donut.
Exactly. Go live. What are you doing? Posting links on CFI After Dark? That's your job?
They're asleep by 11:45. That's
what in the world? So you see it, go spam him or her or whoever it is. As a matter of fact, when this show's over, I'm gonna go find out who it is, and I'm gonna spam that stuff with some links.
It's an AI, man.
Well, I don't care what it is. I'm gonna go spam it.
It's Skynet, man. Don't do it.
All right, well, I just had to address that. That came in during the interview, and I was not happy. I was not happy. Anyway, all right, producer, we were at Barry for the Battle of Allegheny. Harding won that game 40-20. Go ahead and share a couple thoughts from that game.
I think there's always a lot of energy when you get a rivalry game, and especially two schools in close proximity. Like I said before, for people who aren't familiar with the area, Phillip O'Berry and Harding are literally one stoplight apart. It's a 2-minute drive, if that, maybe even 1 minute. I'll say 60-second drive if you don't get caught at the light to go from one school to the other. So they're rivals by default, just because of the proximity they're in. And, it was obviously because of the playing on an off day and things like that. And the crowd was probably not exactly the way you'd expect, but still a lot of energy. Even with a lighter crowd, there still was a lot of energy in there. Both bands showed up, which was great. And you could tell the teams were familiar with each other. A lot of turnovers. Harding definitely capitalized on a lot of turnovers. Came with a lot of energy, played their best game of the season. And they literally got scores from special teams, on defense, and on offense. So they scored in all three phases, and definitely was nice to see them finally, put together a complete game for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like you said, scoring in all three phases, that was the difference. Harding was able to score on defense a couple of times. A.J. Jenkins started with the lateral that he, smartly picked up and ran back. And then he had a pick six. And then special teams had they had a punt return for a touchdown. And they actually stopped the fake punt attempt by Barry. And they also had a fumble recovery. I think that was the fake punt that they tried, and there was a fumble recovery. There was a lot going on. There was a lot going on there last night. And then, yes, and to your point, the bands were really, really good, and that was great to see. I actually got some video of the Harding band. I need to go post on Instagram later on tonight. So, but kudos to the Harding Rams. Me and producer got that pick right, and Kenneth and Joe got that wrong. So, believe in the right side of Allegheny. Oh, man. All right, let's address some comments here. Well, first of all, I need to ban that idiot. So, all right, he's banned. And the comment was deleted. Okay, let's see. Chat administrator, you know what? Hey, man, I know you're busy trying to handle some things, but hey, we can't let that slip in no more. I gotta give you some administrative rights to take care of that. That's my fault. Let's see. Marcus Bell. Big South 3A takes center stage next Friday. Kings Mountain hosts South Point. Oh, yeah. That's a big one. We'll be talking about that one next week on Football Focus Weekly for sure. All right, Chat Administrator Mooresville at Providence was a wild one. Mooresville up 21-7. Providence came back to take the lead, and then Mooresville took back over in the fourth. Okay. Wow. Well, that's a good sign for Mooresville to, maybe not play your best game, but still find a way to win is really good. I saw Howell and Westmoreland had pretty good games running the football. Of course, we saw Luke Bailey had a pretty good game running the football. So score like that is a lot of good offensive performances. But kudos to Mooresville. They got on in the Baker's dozen at 13. And, they proved that at least I was right for 1 week. So there you go. Mark Wayne Petty. I don't think he misses a show. Yep. Kings Mountain 6-0, man. Rolling into that big one next week. We'll be ready to talk about it then. Let's see. Shout out to Iredell County football. Lake Norman and Pine Lake undefeated, and Mooresville at 5-1. Yeah.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Like you said, ball in Iredell County too.
Yeah, they really are. They really are playing some football. Karen Belk. Hey, Karen. Thanks for joining us in prime time. Independent 75, Garinger nothing. Feel bad for what? Don't feel bad. They're out there. They're trying their best. They're working hard. And, each game is an experience and you learn something from it, I think we've all, produced yet and coached, but, me and Kenneth have coached and played. Well, I know I played on some tough teams that, didn't win that much. And, it is what it is, man. We still have some great memories. That one win a season was always memorable. Oh, man. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Many comments about the slime in the middle of the show. Joe Hughes just woke up. All right. That's good. Thanks for sharing. He said he fell asleep.
Alabama is playing football games tonight. Get some of that, man.
There you go.
That's the indoor stadiums in Alabama.
Coach Marsh, Cox Mill. Oh, yeah. There's a Monday game. Cox Mill at A.L. Brown. Would love to have the CFI family out there. Well.
Yeah, Coach Marsh, you make sure that the two McClamreich boys are on the pass list. And we'll be there. It might be. Pep, check this out. We could go to A.L. Brown on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
We could go to JV game or Cannon School on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And then we could catch a Friday night game as well. That could be 3 football games next week.
It could be. It definitely could be.
You're right. Certainly could be.
Marsh, make sure the two McClamreich boys get on the pass list. I only go where they go. And they've been begging to see the wonders. They have legit been begging to see the wonders.
If you want that man at your game, it's a package deal.
It's a package deal.
So make sure you come correct. And hey, shout out to Cannon. I think they may get the package deal on Thursday.
Ooh, well, that'd be a wild night there.
Coach,
they've attempted to sweeten the package. I won't tell Coach Marsh what their sweetened package is, but
we'll see what we can do here, man. We'll see what we can do. Let's see. All right, so we got a lot of non-recap game comments going on here. This is Friday Night Live. This is not Football Focus Weekly. I think the time is.
We moved on. Microwave generation.
Put them on the screen, man.
All right, Joe Hughes. Here we go. Quick synopsis on Crest at South Point. Cam Medlock, Patrick Blee combined for 310 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. Moment seemed too big for Chris. South Point looked like a team on a mission. Next week will be a big week. Absolutely. That's probably going to be for the Big South title right there. We'll see. It's Chris with the new coach, in that situation. Now, in that situation when they played Shelby, they came through. But, there's still some, growing pains and, things like that. So they'll learn from it. They'll bounce back. It's still going to be tough when you get into the playoffs. That is for sure. But big win for South Point. That was kind of a test. It's kind of a test for them. They didn't really have a signature win either. And they got one for sure. All right. Community School of Davidson, 42-16 over Carver. A.J. Sirianni. That's that guy. He threw 6 touchdowns in the first half. Good
just
gracious.
Registered for the Winter Showcase on December 10th at Mallow Creek High School. AJ will be throwing in front of a lot of college coaches.
I'm telling you, man, you guys, you keep, tagging and DMing. And I talked to a kid today. He said, Coach, I need exposure because I play for a school that y'all don't talk about. I won't say the school's name, but that's what he said to me. And I sent him the link to the Winter Showcase. I said, look, this is your best chance to get exposure. I'm not going to talk junk about no other, camp out there, but this camp, we had the kids quoted back in May. It was the most college coaches they ever saw in one place. Okay? The proof is in the pudding.
I don't think that some young people and their parents are realizing is we have a cap at the number of players that we can allow in per position. Right. So it's not we've got 340 kids that we're going to bring in. It's we have this many quarterbacks. We have this many defensive linemen. We have this many DBs. We have this many wide receivers that we can allow in so that we can have our kids get the maximum amount of exposure possible. We could come in and have 500 wide receivers out there, but ain't no college coach going to be able to tell who is who. So we've got to set that cap so that we can keep the camp not only running smoothly, but we can do right by both the college coaches and most importantly, by the young men who are going to be there playing their hearts out.
And I can tell you right now, the last person that registered for the HBCU showcase, he got an offer. I won't say who it was, but I'm going to tell you, don't miss your opportunity, man. Don't miss your opportunity. You talk about it all the time. You go out here, think about a Friday night. Think about this. How many college coaches have you seen at your games? How many? Probably not that many because they're coaching right now.
And you can make your little highlights on Saturday morning and you can post them on Twitter and you can tag as many coaches as you want on Saturday afternoon. But you know what they're doing on Saturday afternoon? They're coaching.
Exactly.
They ain't on their Twitter. They ain't even got their phones in their possession on Saturdays. Sign up for the showcase. Pep, we talked about this in May. We turned away at least 100 athletes, coaches calling you pissed because we couldn't get their kids in. Pissed. Parents pissed.
Here's the last thing on this. We had the coaches clinic that Friday night, the evening before the showcase in the morning. We had a coach register for the clinic, set in on the clinic. After the clinic, he came up to me with a brochure and set it in front of me and said, Coach, please, can we get this young man in the showcase? I know you're sold out, but can you do something for him? That kind of effort, I had to applaud. I said, okay, we'll make one spot for this young man. Young man went out there, got multiple offers, and he was a top 5 performer in the showcase. And you see the links that his coach did to get him in. Guys, you got to realize the opportunity.
In December.
Right. You got to realize the opportunity, man. Make sure you sign up. Make sure, and if you're watching, make sure you share it. with somebody who's got a junior or a senior who's talented and maybe not getting the exposure, maybe not getting the offers, maybe he plays for a school that we don't talk about because we try to talk about everybody, but inevitably you can't. There's not enough time. That being said, let's get back on a topic here. Joshua Clemens, RGKL beat Myers Park 40-9. Good win for RGKL. They're getting that thing going back again after that loss to Weddington. I still think they're one of the top teams in the Charlotte Metro for sure. They've been sitting on the edge in that Baker's dozen. We'll see when we do it next week. We're going to have to make some adjustments. Had a couple of interesting games this past Friday we hadn't got to yet, but maybe some changes on there. Joe's saying AJ Sirianni was on his preseason radar, and he's proving him right. 33 touchdown passes on the season.
Top 6 games they've had?
It was on the pace for, 50?
God, that's a lot of touchdowns.
Wow. Good gracious. Man, that's crazy. All right. Let's see. Let's go to the ticker. Let's go through some scores because I didn't see them till this morning when I started going through them. I saw some interesting results. So, Huff was over West Meck 52-6. Let's see here. We talked about that one. This was actually double overtime. West Charlotte over Hopewell in double overtime, 40-34. And West Charlotte, building off of that win over West Meck. But Hopewell, that's a good showing. It's like Coach Gentry's got some things going up there, which is good to see. Butler big over East Meck 76-0. Mallard Creek big over North Meck 48-3. And obviously they play with a lot of inspiration, a lot of heart. One of the Mallard Creek fans told me that was the best game they played all season long. And obviously with those results, that showed. Charlotte Catholic big over Rocky River 49-7. Olympic, we talked about this game. They were big over Palisades 48-0. Central Cabarrus, the home of Kenneth McClamrock, over South Oran 42-20.
That's where his statue is.
Not a statue. Adriel Miller, huge game. I think he ended up with 9 receptions, 147 yards, 4 touchdowns, even got an interception. And he won Homecoming King at halftime. So shout out to my guy, Adriel Miller down there.
Absolutely.
Stay down there like it's not 5 minutes away from my house.
Adriel, I hope you're celebrating this weekend, man. That's awesome. And this was a game that we picked. Northwest Cabarrus over West Rowan 20-7.
Yeah.
That's when I believe that's when I picked correctly, actually.
You did, Brandon. You did.
That in.
I got that one too. Thank goodness, because my other picks were good, god awful. Providence Day, 55. Charlotte Country Day 20. Coach Chad Greer sent me some stats in that game. Jaden Davis did not play. Young backup quarterback got in and got some action and did pretty well. I'll share those stats on Football Focus Weekly because there'll be a couple Petman players from that game for sure.
Was there a reason given for Jaden Davis's absence?
I didn't ask. It might be in the email, but I didn't ask.
Oh, okay.
Weddington big over Piedmont 55-0. North Raleigh Christian knocked off Covenant Day 16-14 in a good football game. Rabun Gap knocking off Charlotte Christian 24-10. Rabun Gap's a good team and knocked off a good team in Charlotte Christian there at Rabun Gap. Another game that we all missed, we did pick Sun Valley big over Cuthbertson 35-13. Great win for Sun Valley right there.
They were, yeah.
One that, kind of surprised us a little bit, but they showed there for real. It was exam time for Catawba Ridge, and they got it done. On the road at South Point, 21-7. So Catawba Ridge remains undefeated on the season. South Point gets their second loss on the season. There'll definitely be some changes in the upstate South Carolina rankings, for sure, based on that result. All right. Trinity Christian over Metro Atlanta Christian 20-14. Coach Bachman Hickory Grove, man, 6-0, best start in school history. 25-12 over South Lake Christian. We had to get Coach Bachman on the show, man. They are rolling over there. Forest Hills. Did we pick this game? Forest Hills and Parkwood?
Did not.
No, we did. Oh, we talked about it. That's what it was. Forest Hills getting a big win, 34-19 over Parkwood to remain undefeated on the season.
Their quarterback is having just a heck of a year.
Brady Hibbard. Yep.
Brady Hibbard.
Yep. Absolutely. Monroe big, 56-3 over Anson County. And talked about Cannon earlier. They're big. They went down to Harold's Christian in a non-conference game. Remember, that was kind of their rival for a couple years.
The state championship game last year. They lost to Harold's Cannon for homecoming last year. That was the game me and the boys went to. And just a slobber knocker, and then got their revenge in the state championship game. So that was a repeat of it.
Well, they have shown that they are on another level now because they beat them 47-0 this year.
That's a long trip too, buddy. What we said, it was like 5 hours, Pat.
Yeah, because we looked it up on the map, and it was like a little dot and nothing but white space around. I was like, what gracious. And oh, man, that was crazy. But, hey, at least you go down there and win. It's a great trip home.
No doubt.
Carson over Concord 20-13.
My God, J-Lo, man. Score with 1 minute and 26 seconds, I think.
Good stuff right there. Hickory Ridge back in the win column, 41-7 over South Iredale. Kind of exam time for South Iredale. They had been off to a good start. Their only loss was to East Forsyth, so I was interested to see how they would hang, with Hickory Ridge, and obviously, Hickory Ridge, kind of walked the dog with them right there. Let's see. Lake Norman remained undefeated, 34-16 over West Cabarrus. It was like West Cabarrus might have come to play a little bit in that one, though.
It was close, right? For a quarter, maybe even a halftime, it was a close game. 17-17, I think.
All right. Porter Ridge, this was in overtime, 27-21 over Marvin Ridge. Steven Zykowski was the big star in that game. He had, I think he had an interception in overtime, and then he had the winning touchdown run for Porter Ridge in that game. So
that dude reminds me of Scott Steiner. He's got arms that are ginormous. I don't know how he wears shirts. He has to cut his shirts. He loses circulation in his arms.
Big Papa Pump.
Old school. Took it back, man.
See, that's why you watch CFI After Dark. You get Big Papa Pump references. Boy, that's
right.
There ain't nobody else doing that.
No.
This was the game we picked, and it came right down to the end. Stuart Kramer over Hunter Huss, 22-21.
I'll take that one.
LJ Smooth Watson, freshman running back I highlighted early in the season for Prep Red Zone. Broke out, had 145 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. So Stuart Kramer showing them more than just Justin Rockamore at quarterback. That's awesome. Kings Mountain, we talked about him earlier, 48-7 over Forest View. Big, and talking about big Shelby, 76-0 over Highland Tech. Let's see. East Gaston over Thomas Jefferson, 28-16. Ashbrook over North Gaston, 37-14. Clover Big over Nations Ford, 35-7. Indian back in the win column over York. That was a good game, 28-21. Blythewood and Coach Seidel. We had Coach Seidel on the show with the female linebacker on JV, Tiana Mack, doing some big things. They were big over Fort Mill, 52-0. Spring Valley over Rock Hill, 37-22. North Stanley win column over Union Academy, 28-12. J.M. Robinson, they're rolling. Battle of the Bulldogs, 49-9 over the Albemarle.
Those two teams play this week. North Stanley comes to J.M. Robinson. Big game.
Absolutely.
They don't like each other very much.
Why is that?
I mean, they're just big rivals inside the conference. I don't think there's any
okay.
reason other than, North Stanley is pretty stinking good usually, and J.M. Robinson is now pretty stinking good, and last year they played in a pouring down rain. Me and the boys went to that game at North Stanley, and it was a super, super, super close game. And you could just tell, man, there was just a lot of those jokers. They like to hit each other.
Good stuff. Looking forward to it. Let's see. East Lincoln big over West Iredale 50-0. Mount Pleasant big 60-0 over the South Stanley Rowdy Rebels.
A lot of lopsided games in that conference, buddy.
Yeah. Well, let's keep going on that theme. Burns big over Bessemer City 62-6. Statesville over Fred T. Ford 49-13. And Northwestern and our boy Turbo big over Lancaster 58-16.
Man, who can stop that dude?
Not many people.
There's no stopping a man named Turbo.
Nah.
He's going to Clemson. He's got a visit at Clemson. I'm
knew what she was doing.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Joe Hughes talking about Stuart Kramer. He said Smooth went off in the JV game. Rockamore rushed for a TD and threw one. Then Mark Odell rushed for a TD and kicked a field goal. Okay. Oh, they put up. Oh, that was JV highlights. I thought that was varsity. Good gracious. Well, still, that's a great performance anyway. Oh, Joe, come on, man. Turbo's one of our guys, man. One of our guys, man. I mean, they won, but still, I'm just saying. Anyway, let's see. I think that's all. That's all the comments. That was the ticker. All right. Let's see what else we got here. We'll finish up with a couple of these off-topic comments right here. Stephon White, what's up with these refs, man? Can we go to NCAA rules?
No,
we get some quality refs if there's such a thing. Got robbed who got robbed 2 weeks in a row? Stephon, let us know who you're talking about.
We don't want to go to NCAA rules. I can tell you that.
What are the NCAA rules?
Well, like for example, you can a receiver could chop block a defensive player in open space, for example.
Oh.
So in America, Texas is the only state that plays by NCAA rules.
Gotcha.
Not a shock.
Absolutely nothing to do with the skill set of officials that we have in North Carolina.
We are getting so many officials complaints, man. So many.
Sometimes you complain when you lose.
Yeah, but right now it's either these officials or no officials right now.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see a lot of people stepping up to be officials.
Exactly.
In our local organization that services this area, they had less than 30 new football officials this year, but that goes all the way down to like Pop Warner leagues. And those aren't just high school officials. So, the numbers of new officials are significantly lower than retiring officials and officials that we've lost over the last couple of years.
Wow. That's crazy, man. I will say the officials at Berry last night, I don't remember anyone really complaining about them. I thought they were pretty good.
Officials last night at Christ the King were really good officials as well.
Good stuff. Gary, do you know who our chat administrator is?
We got to play-by-play.
We got a quick breakdown.
But to answer your question, yes, it was definitely mentioned. It was definitely mentioned. All right. Well, it's 9:50 p.m. and so now you messing with me, Gary? You messing with me? They did that with me a couple weeks ago. You remember Tommy was asking about that random school or something? I don't know.
Well, we had the best defense in South Carolina comment last week from a team that.
Oh yeah,
40 points.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
They almost won 3 games.
If you take away those 120 points they'd given up in 3 weeks, their defense is averaging pretty good.
Wow.
I haven't seen that guy since then. I don't know why.
Where's Mr. Chambers, though? That's what I want to know. Mr. Chambers.
I think he commented earlier.
Did he comment?
I think he did. Yeah, he was talking to Tim Pride. Yeah, they were.
What? Tim Pride's a Chambers guy.
Well, that they go talk smack back
It's a
and
long
forth.
clock. God, dog.
You know everyone's ready for that game.
What?
They are ready for that game, man.
There he is.
See, you mentioned him and he just pops up, man.
I knew he was on.
Yeah.
Something like
Good to
Candyman.
see you, man. Appreciate you watching.
Who
And a
does
good
not
win.
play this week?
I can look it up real quick. Let's see. Creek Boys getting it done. 5-2. 5-2 is on the season. Undefeated in the conference.
Bye
Yep. Then they got Huff in 2 weeks.
I knew
That's
Huff
a
was
big
coming
one.
up. I couldn't remember if it was this week or not.
Yeah, that's a big one in 2 weeks. It's good to have a bye before Huff. That's pretty good. Huff, West Meck, and then Chambers, the game everyone's waiting on. Let's see. All right. Well, y'all got anything else?
No.
All right. Well, let's have a good weekend. I'm gonna finish watching the Braves beat up on these Mets, tie this thing up, and then these next 2 games gonna be huge. So let's go Braves and Panthers. Oh, if you're
cheer for
going
the Panthers this week.
I'm going to the game.
So that's when you cheer for him, when it's Sam Mills Day.
I'm cheering for Sam Mills. I gotta find my Sam Mills jersey. I don't know if it still fits.
That's real Panthers. Well,
Right.
we'll just pitch a lot.
On that note, good night, everybody.
Wow.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Adore.
Am I brave? No, I'm leaving in the third quarter. I am leaving in the third quarter.
Stop it.
I am getting there early though. I'm getting there early. It
Can't
is
leave
my
Peter. Can't lead a suite early.
Mr. Tepper. We'll wonder where you
Right.
went.
He sent a limo all the way to get you, and you think you really?
That's a long trip to Denver too to pick up.
I will be taking public transportation.
Nah, a man of your stature can't go to the game in the public transportation, man. You get it back. You know,
No,
all
who
those
do you think
autographs
I
and
am?
paparazzi. You
The
think you still be-
ESPN 730 man, the Prep Red Zone man, the Queen City Bowl man.
It's a lot of jobs, man.
Go ahead and get on.
Oh yeah, make sure you apply for the Queen City Senior Bowl. There's over 100 seniors that have applied, and thank you for applying. And that's in a week's time. But
Do y'all keep that?
what's that?
How many do you keep
80.
total? So 40 each side.
Yeah.
Then he puts on a suit and gets on TV and makes announcements, man. Awesome stuff.
It's a big deal, man. Dress up for it, You know, Football Focus Weekly, you just wear whatever. But selection show, you got.
I'm looking forward to my hoodie. I'm looking forward to wearing my hoodie on the show. So
You look good on you, Brandon.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Man, I will hand you down a hoodie, okay? I will pass it down and.
I don't want to use hoodie, man. I want
Last year's hoodie when Pep gets this year's hoodie. You got 2 years ago hoodie.
It's a throwback, man.
I don't want a pre-owned hoodie, man. Give me a new
2019 edition.
See? Nah, man. You give me a pre-COVID hoodie. I want a new one, man. I want the new purple hoodie, man.
All right, we're going to handle this family business. Good night, everybody. Free COVID, that's special. That's rare, man. That's rare stuff. You should be appreciative of that.
I don't know, man.